Steve Waller, is going to be our next presenter.
All right, I'm a skeptic. And what that means is I don't necessarily believe everything I hear. When it comes specifically to renewable energy, and this is my specialty is energy issues, this is what I write about. I do the Green Living article here for the Health Happiness magazine. Sometimes I see maps showing where renewable energy is possible and where it isn't. And if you look at one for solar, you'll find a big red area down in Arizona, and up by us is kind of like this pale, pasty blue-green color, suggesting that it's not very good here. So, being a skeptic, I bought 2,760 watts of solar panels, installed them on my house up in the Huron Mountains, and I've been living with it for the last 17 years full time. Now, my conclusion, solar is the solution. It works here. The reason it looks fainter up there is, no, it's not as strong as it would be in Arizona. If I have 10 panels down there, you'll get more power out of them in Arizona than you will up here, but if I buy 2 more panels, I get the same power. So it doesn't matter, right? So, if I ask you, why don't you already have renewable energy? Who does here? No one. Exactly my point. Why don't you have renewable energy? And the first thing people say to me is, well, I don't know much about it. And I say, well, I installed my first solar panels back in 1980. It's been a while. We do have the internet now. If you don't know anything about it, it's because you haven't looked. So, I'm going to give you a little brief summary of how solar works. This is a solar panel. On the back of the solar panel are 2 wires. I take the 2 wires, I hook them up to a little light, and if I put the solar panel in the light, electricity comes out. Okay? What else you want to know? That's it. All right. So it's as simple as that. Well, let's see if I do this. That's a little bit dimmer, and then okay, that's how it works here. And this is an LED light, so I'm not getting full power that these solar panels would normally require. So that's all it takes is whenever the sun shines, electricity comes out. So maybe that's not the full reason that you're not doing it. Maybe you've heard some other, what I'm going to call myths. And the myth is the payback is just too long. And you've heard that. I've heard it. I've been in this business for a long time. Now, I don't sell anything, but I've been in the business of promoting renewable energy for a long time. What is a good payback period? What should it be? Any suggestions? 10 years or less. All right, I heard that one. I've even heard as low as 3 years. Here's the problem. As soon as I hear the word payback, I start licking my lips because I think this is a great term. I love this term because then I say, did you pay your electric bill last month? And you say yes, right? And I say, well then, since you're a good shopper and you want to get the best deal all the time, you must get the money back on your electric bill faster. When do you get the money back on your electric bill? What was it? Never. Never? N-E-V-E-R, never? Then why is that a better deal than solar? Interesting question. So this is something that our minds are not accustomed to. So let's move on past that one. If you need a payback, how come only solar has to have a payback? If you buy a jet ski, what's the payback? If you buy an ATV, what's the payback? If you buy a bass boat, what's the payback? If you buy a truck, what is the payback? Do you get money back at the end of the month because you bought a truck from the dealer? No, you don't. You never, ever, ever. It's the difference between an investment and a purchase. That's the huge difference. Solar is truly an investment. But let's talk about this truck situation a little bit longer. I did some math for you. I took a Ram 1500 pickup truck. I'm being conservative. I didn't go with the $50,000 truck. I went with the $30,000 truck. $30,000 truck, let's say you drive it 200,000 miles. You're going to put 10,000 gallons of gasoline into that truck. I know it sounds like a lot, but in reality, you're going to do it if you drive it for 200,000 miles. So you got a $30,000 truck. You got $30,000 worth of gasoline at $3 a gallon. That truck is going to cost you $60,000 if you didn't finance it. It's going to cost you $60,000. Now, a lot of people don't drive trucks. A lot of people drive smaller cars. They'll drive like maybe a Honda Civic. Well, a Honda Civic only costs $20,000, and by my calculations, it only costs $18,180 in gas as opposed to the $30,000 in gas that the other truck was going to use. So, you subtract the cost of a Honda Civic from the cost of a Ram 1500 truck, and you wind up with over $20,000 that you didn't spend simply because you chose the Honda instead of the pickup truck, which you really didn't need. You know how much you can buy for $20,000? You can buy an entire solar system for $20,000 just by not buying the truck. It's instantly paid for because you didn't pay for the truck. Very interesting. And then you start getting money back from the power company because you stop paying them the bills because you have your own solar system. Things get a little interesting. A lot of these myths are going to fall down the way. But wait a minute, there's still more reasons. People say, but you know, it's the upfront cost, Steve. That's the problem. It just costs so much up front that nobody wants to do it. Of course, we don't know how much it costs. I gave you a sheet here that you can look up how much it costs literally for the hardware. But you know what? Since this is not a purchase, this is an investment. Saying that solar panels are too expensive up front is a myth because it's like saying that, well, savings accounts are too expensive. Savings accounts only pay you interest if you put money in them. So, if you don't want to put any money in your 401k, you're not going to get an investment. If you don't put any money in your savings account, you're not going to get an investment and you're not going to get a return. You're not going to get a payback. This is interesting. So, you don't want to do that because you don't want to put that money up front. You have your savings. If you have your savings in a savings account, what's your interest rate? What was it?
Pitiful.
Pitiful means that the best interest rate in the country right now is 1%. Right? Then you pay tax on it. You're getting nothing for money in a savings account. What are you going to be getting for solar panels? About 6.5% return on your investment. Or more, depending on how things go. So, you say, well, I'm not going to put it in a savings account. I'm going to put it in something smarter. I'm going to go with a CD or a T-bill. And what are they paying? 2%, and you pay taxes on that. Interesting. Instead, you could have installed a solar system and you would be getting a 6 or 7% return on your investment. Now, when that truck was 200,000 miles old, what do you wind up doing with it? For most people, you junk it and you go buy another one. Then after you buy the other one, you start over again with new payments and you start over. Here's the interesting thing. You don't necessarily junk them in the UP. You often keep them in your front yard for spare parts, all right? But you probably is on blocks and you're not driving it anymore. What happens to solar panels after they pay off one time? You know what they do? They pay off again and you didn't have to spend a penny. And then they'll pay off a third time. And so people ask me, well, how long will solar panels last? And I always say, longer than you will. Because it's true. We don't know how long they're going to last. All right, so these are a couple of options. Now, the last one that I hear a lot is that, well, there's problems with solar, and even if you take the expenses into account, it's not good for the utility companies. Well, they say that all the time. They say, you know, now I'm off-grid, you won't be off-grid because you're going to be on-grid, meaning you already have power lines. I'm off-grid, I don't have power lines. So by being on-grid, you're going to be doing something called net metering. If you put solar on your house, the solar panels during the day are going to make electricity. When you make more electricity during the day than you use, your meter runs backwards and gives you a credit with the power company. And at night, your meter runs forwards and you use that credit up. In the summertime, you make extra power and your meter runs backwards. And in the wintertime, you don't make quite so much and so you use that credit up. And so people often size their system to be such where they basically balance out. Now, power companies don't like this. There is a meeting going on right now in Madison, Wisconsin on how they can get to 100% renewable energy in the city of Madison, Wisconsin. But there is a state in Kansas, the state of Kansas, legislature right now is considering charging solar customers more because they feel the solar customers are abusing the system by using the grid and not paying for it. And here's a couple of ways that myth is busted as well. One, when you are solar powered and you are net metering and you're putting power back onto the grid, your excess power back onto the grid, they think that you're using the infrastructure but not paying for it. But if you look at your electric bill, you have a service charge, a flat rate charge above and beyond your kilowatt hours. That flat rate charge is supposed to be paying for the power lines and all. You still pay that even if you didn't use any electricity. So that's not true. Now, secondly, they make it sound like the solar power is using all this infrastructure, but when you put power back on the grid, do you know where that power is going? To the neighbor's house. It's going out to the pole, turning around, making a bend, coming right back to your house, to the guy next door. You're not using that infrastructure. It's very, very interesting. So, Board of Light and Power in Marquette, they don't want to pay you full rate for your electricity. They want to give you 6.5 cents a kilowatt hour because they think that's going to be a fair rate. And they don't even want you to use your own electricity. They want you to take and sell all of your electricity to them for half the price, and then they will sell it back to you for 14 cents a kilowatt hour. Twice the price. I know, but no one showed up at the board meeting and they could do it that way. It's very interesting. So, here's the deal. They also have a solar garden. The solar garden, you've seen the 400 solar panel arrays. Does anyone know the details on those? All right, they charge you $500 per panel. That panel will give you $24 worth of electricity per year. Now, they figure it's a 20-year return on your investment. That comes up to about a 3.5% return on your investment. It's still better than a savings account. But there's a separate thing to consider here as well. And that is that you get a 30%, full 30% rebate from the federal government on the total installed cost of renewable energy for your home. And even it doesn't even have to be a primary home, it can be a secondary home. You get a 30% rebate, the link is on that sheet of paper that I have over there. And so that takes that $500 solar panel and knocks it down to $350. That doubles the return on your investment. Instead of getting a 3.5%, you're getting like a 6.8% return on that money. Where are you going to get 6.8% interest on $350? Nowhere else. You should be buying solar because it's an investment. Right? So, here's the bottom line. That new public services building for the city of Marquette on Wright Street, why isn't that the roof covered with solar panels? I don't know why, but it should have been. Now, should you be getting renewable energy for your own personal home? Yes. If those of you who are seniors and you're sitting on a ton of money, because I looked up the graphs, that's where all the money is, the senior citizens have it, right? They don't have to work anymore, they got pensions, they got 401, they're sitting on a bucket of money. Quit buying punch bowls for people for weddings. Give those young people an inverter and a solar system instead. Don't buy a stupid car they're going to throw out in a couple of years. Give them a solar panel and it will pay for the rest of their lives. What a great gift. So, the myths were, solar doesn't work. It works. The myths were that the payback is too long. It's not too long. A 6.5%, if you use the rule of 72, is 12 years. All right? And that's with them only giving you half the value of the electricity. It's still only 12 years. That means your money doubles in 12 years. It's called the rule of 72. There's a link to a calculator on my page. So, you figure all that stuff out, and what you'll find out is solar is the only solution, and that we should be doing it, and we should be encouraging the Marquette Board of Light and Power and any other utilities to do the same. Even Alger Delta Electric Cooperative. I can buy energy blocks, and for $6, I have a rental on Sauk's Head Lake. For $6, I buy nothing but 100% pure renewable energy from them, $6 extra, all right? And now that piece of property is 100% renewable energy. So this is really, really easy to do, and I suggest that you do it. And if you have any questions, I'll talk to you later. Thank you much.